Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jill with Whispering Willow Farm, and I'm so glad that you have landed here. So today we're talking all about one of my favorite topics to talk about, and that is herbs. A lot of what you see behind me. Not only do I love incorporating herbs in just my everyday routine, but I love talking about herbs when they pertain to women's health. So I have had 3 kiddos now, and truthfully, postpartum has looked different for each and every one of them. But the one thing I always come back to is herbalism. How can I support my body as naturally as I can? And there's something so sacred about making, a nourishing tea or eating a nourishing meal that really just kind of grounds me. But specifically in this postpartum season, there's a lot of healing that's still taking place. My body is still changing drastically. There's the lack of sleep, there's the adrenal fatigue, there's just still a lot of healing that's taking place even 9 months postpartum. And so I just want to start this video by saying, if you're a mama and you're in the trenches and the thick of it, I'm with you. Postpartum's hard, and postpartum can last for months and even years. So I really want to encourage you, it's kind of a message I'm giving myself, is to give yourself grace in this season. You've just done something incredibly miraculous, and that is giving birth and taking care of a whole new human. And I really like to encourage this 4th trimester, right? And a lot of times we think that's in that newborn phase where you're taking a few weeks off and you're just really eating nourishing foods and you're taking it easy. But I personally feel like that 4th trimester can go way beyond the first few weeks after you've given birth. In fact, I'm 9 months in and I feel like I am still in that 4th trimester and needing to just add a little bit of extra support. So I want to share with you guys what I'm doing. How am I nourishing my nervous system, my adrenals? How am I supporting my endocrine system? That's something now that I'm really needing more than ever with the lack of sleep, with the hustle and bustle of what's going on in the farm. And I'm sharing this video in hopes that it's going to help some of you guys on the other end of this figure out a natural alternative to support yourself and take a little time for some self-care, because every time I do this, even if it's just brewing up a simple tea, you guys, it changes my whole mood. My mental mindset begins to shift. I can immediately feel this calm and this peace come over me. And then I realize everything's gonna be just right in the world. So come along, let's talk about it today. So today I'm gonna be harvesting 2 of my favorite gentle herbs if you are a female. I really relied heavily on these herbs well before I was pregnant or postpartum. They're just some of my go-tos. So here behind me, I've got Tulsi, which is also known as holy basil. It's a really easy herb to grow, so it's a great point of entry if you're trying to get into herbalism, and it has so many incredible medicinal properties. You guys, I wish you could actually just smell this right now. I mean, I cannot wait to go inside and brew up a tea. I'm actually going to be preserving these today with the freeze dryer so that we can make kind of a tea blend in this video. But I'm also going to take some of this fresh with some lemons, a little bit of honey, and we're gonna make a great tea. So what we're gonna do first is just harvest this Tulsi. Tulsi, also known as holy basil, is honestly such a sacred plant, not just because of its history, but because of what it does for our bodies, especially in seasons like postpartum when everything feels a little tender and even honestly a whole lot raw. Tulsi is what we like to call an adaptogen. And what that really means is that it just helps your body adapt to stress, whether that's physical stress from healing after birth, maybe emotional stress from those sleepless nights, or hormonal stress as your body learns to recalibrate. Tulsi meets you right where you are, and it helps bring back things into balance. So when I think about postpartum, I think about how hard we work to care for our babies, but sometimes we forget that our bodies need tending to as well. And this herb gently supports your nervous system, easing that tired but wired feeling that can creep in during that 4th trimester. It also helps regulate your cortisol, which can get thrown off when you're living in a cycle of interrupted sleep and constant caregiving. Tulsi is a great anti-inflammatory and immune supportive, which means it's helping your body on a cellular level as you heal. And a bonus, it's going to support your digestion and your blood sugar, 2 things that can get a little wonky when you're in that postpartum season. So for the tea blend we're going to be making up, I'm going to be harvesting this Tulsi. We're gonna harvest some lemon balm from the other garden, and I have got some red raspberry leaves I'm gonna throw in as well. So those are the three herbs. Really, the Tulsi and the lemon balm are great bases, and then there's a lot of different things you could throw in. I've got red raspberry leaf, so I'm doing that one, but I could easily do St. John's wort. I could do some motherwort. There are some different herbs I could throw in. I was just really using what I have on hand. If I had spearmint, that's a really good one I could throw in as well. So I'm just kind of working with what I have right now. But just those three things. So the Tulsi, the lemon balm, and the red raspberry leaf are going to make an incredible blend that's going to support my emotional wellness. It's going to nourish my nervous system. It's going to support my endocrine system, which is something really important as we're going through this healing process, right? And this healing process doesn't even have to take place, like I mentioned, during that postpartum season. I feel like as women, we're really draining our adrenals just in everyday life. And so if you can create some sort of nourishing tea just to really restore your nervous system, focus on your endocrine system, focus on that emotional well-being, right? Your mindset's really big. I find that this tea blend is really great, you know, whether you're 15 or you're 75. But I just know my specific needs right now, and so this is kind of the go-tos that I'm pulling from out of the garden. It is so incredibly windy today, but that's okay. We've got rain coming for the next few days, so I really wanted to make sure that I was coming out here and harvesting that. That's another thing too, is ideally you're coming out early morning after the dew is gone, or late afternoon before the dew is set, which is actually, despite the sun, the window I have found myself in right now. So it's really good too, just like a side tip, the little gardener coming out in me, you want to make sure that you're continuing to prune your plants, because then it's going to encourage side growth. If you do not harvest it, even if you don't intend to use it, harvest it, give it away, feed it to your animals, compost it, whatever you have to do, it's going to keep trying to grow to seed and grow vertically. So I like to come in about once a week and snip all my plants, give them a little haircut so that they keep putting on side shoots and will actually produce longer in the season. But oh, you guys, it smells like summer and I'm so here for it. But all right, we've got our Tulsi. So let's run up to the other cottage garden. We have been slowly transitioning that space to this beautiful space you see behind me, our new kitchen cottage garden. But I have got lemon balm that's been in there for a couple years, and I will be harvesting off of that for years to come. So I'm gonna let the lemon balm that's in my new kitchen garden keep growing a little bit more, and we're gonna go harvest what's already in full bloom and ready for a haircut. Right now, I'm gathering one of the most calming plants in my garden, lemon balm. I always say if there's only one herb every new mom should have nearby, it is this one. There's something about just brushing your hand across the leaves that feels kind of like an exhale. Lemon balm is a powerful nervine, which means it directly supports your nervous system. It doesn't knock you out, it just soothes you. It's like someone rubbing your back and saying, "You're doing good, mama." So in the postpartum season, when hormones are shifting, sleep is fragmented, and everything feels a little tender, lemon balm helps just take the edge off. It can ease any sort of anxious thoughts, emotional ups and downs, and that heavy mental fog that sometimes starts to settle in. It's also really gentle, so it's a great safe one for postpartum and for breastfeeding mamas. I often drink it as a tea in the afternoon when maybe the overwhelm of the day has creeped in, or before bed when my mind just won't stop racing even though I'm extremely exhausted. So when I have a good harvest, I freeze dry it to use it all year long. Unlike air drying, the freeze drying helps preserve the color, the flavor, and those delicate volatile oils that give lemon balm, all of its lovely goodness. Once it's preserved, we're going to mix this up with some other herbs into a healing, nourishing tea. So I'm actually going to be freeze drying my herbs, and I love using my freeze dryer for herbs. Not only do I find that it holds the vibrancy of the herbs really well, but it also is going to hold the potency, so all the medicinal properties of the herbs as well, a lot better than air drying and certainly better than dehydrating. when you dehydrate, a lot of times you're dehydrating that nutritional content as well. So freeze drying is my number one method for preserving herbs, specifically the herbs I plan to use for teas. But if you don't have a freeze dryer, then air drying I would recommend over dehydrating. Just make sure that when you are drying them, you're keeping them out of a sunny window, right? That's going to definitely take away the vibrancy of the herb as well. So I am just loading up my herbs, but I absolutely love my freeze dryer because it gently preserves all the medicinal properties in the herbs without actually using heat. In fact, you might not know this, but freeze drying retains up to 97% of the nutrients and the volatile oils compared to about 60% if you were to dehydrate them. Which, you guys, that makes a pretty big difference when you're using these herbs for wellness. Plus, I use it for way more than just herbs. We're freeze drying our fruits, our veggies, our eggs, you name it. But Harvest Right is running a pretty big sale right now where you can save up to $500 off their freeze dryers. I'm going to drop the link in the description if you've been thinking about getting one. It's honestly one of the best investments we've made for preserving the harvest and really building our own home apothecary. And it couldn't be more fitting that I have a baby on my hip right now as we were finishing out this fun little herbal tea blend. Bless it. Now I will just stack my trays and pop them in the freeze dryer overnight. My herbs actually freeze dry pretty quickly, so I start this project either the afternoon, the night before, the day before, and then the next day I've got all my herbs ready to go. We'll go pop them in. All right, so now that we have preserved our herbs, let's make a simple postpartum tea. I'm also going to be pulling some additional things from, aside from the lemon balm that we freeze dried and the tulsi, I'm going to be doing probably a half part. So everything's going to be 1 part ratio. So I'm going to do 1 part lemon balm, 1 part tulsi. I think I'm going to do 1 part red raspberry leaf. There are so many benefits to this, especially during pregnancy, postpartum, menstruation. Like red raspberry leaf is just such a powerhouse herb in my opinion for the female. And then I'm going to do a half a part chamomile. We actually preserved all of this from the cottage garden last year. And this is going to be great just for calming, obviously, but it's also really good for digestion. I'm on this massive gut healing journey. And so I thought, you know what, I have this. It's going to add a nice little lovely honey flavor. So let's get started making up our blend. A few other things you could add in. So you could use lemon balm and tulsi as the base. I mentioned I'm adding in the chamomile, but oat straw is really good if you source that or you grow it. It's going to be fantastic for nourishing the nervous system. You could do half part rose petals, which is really good emotional support. Or you could do a half a part lavender, which is going to be very calming and soothing. So just know there is a lot here you can play around with. And I'm just kind of building out a ratio on what looks accurate. So I like to just use a deep dish bowl here. And I'm going to do, like I said, 1 part lemon balm, 1 part tulsi, 1 part red raspberry leaf, and then a half a part of our chamomile. So this should go without saying, but make sure you're using clean hands here, you guys. So again, I'm just really eyeballing this. I am kind of crushing up the bigger, bulkier herbs, but I've been doing this for a while, so I'm pretty familiar. Now I'm just mixing them all up. You could mix it with your hands, and then I'm just transferring this to my pint jar that I will store it in and adding a secure lid on top. I will say though, when I am getting ready to make it, I'm doing about a tablespoon, or you can see here my little steeper. I'm doing that per 8 to 10 ounces of water, and I'm going to let mine steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. The longer that you let it steep, the more medicinal properties you are going to have from it. As women, our bodies go through so much, especially during birth and postpartum. I'm talking physically, emotionally, hormonally. And while it's easy to focus on our babies and everyone else around us, we need to start tending to ourselves too. Herbal support isn't just a quick fix though, but it is one way I like to slow down, reconnect, and nourish my system from the inside out. So if you are in that tender season right now, or maybe you're preparing for it, or you're like me and we've just come out of it, I want you guys to know that I see you and I am with you. I am walking in the trenches right now myself, and I hope that this video just shows you some of the tools you can use to feel supported. A lot of times when we're in that phase, right, we feel so isolated because we are raising babies and we're doing those daily tasks. And every time I can just brew a cup of tea, I can just sit with intention, I feel so nourished. I feel so seen. I feel so heard. I give myself a moment of peace and tranquility and just to sit. I feel like oftentimes, whether you're your mother or you're not, no matter what season of life you're in, just as a woman in general, sometimes we have a hard time just to sit still. So if you would like to see more herbal care videos, not just self-care, but herbalism in the home, that holistic home in general, it's been a massive part of my journey, honestly, for the last decade. When my first daughter was born, I kind of dove headfirst, and I feel like I could do a better job of sharing how I'm supporting myself, my husband, my kids, and our home holistically and naturally. So if you want to see more content around this, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, if you want to know how I integrate herbalism into my daily life, I've got some resources I've put down and linked below. Okay, friends, if you like what you see, please just take 5 seconds and hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. It really means a lot. We are so glad you've joined our journey. And if you're here for the real life, fun on the farm, from scratch living, holistic way of life, you've landed in the right place. It is certainly not all glamorous here on the farm, but we love to keep it real and authentic so that we can encourage, inspire, and educate you right where you are. And we feel like we do that by sharing real life, not just the highlight reel. So if you like what you see, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.